Welcome to the New England Outdoor Life Podcast, where stories, traditions, tips, and tricks come to life by way of those who hunt, fish, guide, trap, and track all over this beautiful region. Join us as we celebrate the outdoor spirit of New England, the New England Outdoor Life Podcast.
Hey everyone, we are here at the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo in Milford, New Hampshire. And as always, we're interviewing all types of different folks and talking about the outdoors. And last week, I had a young gentleman from here in New Hampshire send me a message about his snowmobiling life and a mission that he has. So we've got Derrick Chase here with us today. And you've got an interesting story to tell us about, Derrick.
Yeah,
so feel free to tell us about your mission and your snowmobile ride.
All right. Well, I bought two snowmobiles a couple of weeks back. So I bought my 94 Mach 1 700 triple. I bought it on a Saturday night, and I took it to my buddy's house because he's got a nice, decent garage and a yard to ride in. So
Sure.
I bought it, and it wasn't running the best. So we parked it, and I found another one real fast in Marketplace.
Yeah.
And I went up the road. It was in Maine, right over the 5 minutes from my house. And I bought that, and I took that back to my buddy's house, and I took the skis from my Mach 1 and put it on the 600. Due to the fact that they didn't have skis, the skags were wore right off, and holes in it.
So you built your ride for this trip?
Absolutely, yeah. I had
Awesome.
to modify the skis themselves due to the control arms and where they mount.
Yep.
It's different from a 94 to a 2000, so I literally had to modify the skis so I could just ride around.
Sure,
And
sure.
then tinkered with it, cleaned the carburetors, new belt.
Yep.
Went right through it. Called my dad, asked him, hey, how do I do this? I forgot because it's been years.
Yep.
And
So, folks, he didn't take a brand new off-the-shelf snowmobile. What year was the sled?
it's a 2000 MXZ
2000
600.
MXZ
Yeah.
Skidoo that you were able to put together and
Yeah.
this mission to take off on your ride.
Yep. Well, I
Yep.
bought it and it ran great. The only thing that I did do engine-wise was just clean the carburetors, but
Yep.
that was just for more security in my mind, because if I was going to go for a ride, that's the number one thing with these sleds, with the fuel nowadays, with the ethanol, they get gummed up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do you live, bud?
I live in Rochester, New Hampshire.
In Rochester,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. I grew up in Nottingham, but I live in Rochester because...
So you're over near the Maine border.
Yep,
Southern New Hampshire by most standards.
Yep. About not even 2 minutes from Lebanon.
Yep.
Maine. Yep.
Gotcha. Now, is there a trail network in your region?
The closest one that I could potentially get to and drop off would be like near Spalding High School.
Okay,
Because then
sure.
you can go up like Route 11 towards Johnson's Dairy Bar.
Yep.
And then you can get on the main trails from there.
Gotcha. So it's probably been a few years since you've had snow that you could do this down
Yeah.
there.
And I haven't. This is the first time I've ridden a snowmobile in 8 years.
Yeah, well,
'Cause
I live in the Champlain Valley in Vermont, and it's pretty much the same weather, currents, and atmosphere. The
Yeah.
mountains, we've had a ton of snow.
Yep.
But this year, we've had great riding, pretty much statewide for 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, right.
and
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
So, okay, so you've got this sled put together.
Yep.
And now you've got a mission to ride to the Canadian border, correct?
Well, it was just ride as far as it wanted to go, I guess, because I went home it was Thursday night, and I went home to say hi to my wife and my kids because I worked on it all day, and she's a saint. She gives me so much leeway. And I went home, and she had made dinner, and I was like, hey, I want to go for a ride. And I grabbed all my gear that I had, which was like 16-year-old gear.
Yep.
The waterproofing, the weatherproofing gone. Like, it doesn't work anymore, right?
Sure.
And I grabbed all my stuff and went back to my friend's house, and I loaded it up in the back of his truck because we just have a 4Runner, and I don't have a trailer right now.
Sure.
So, loaded up in his truck, and he unloaded me at St. Hilaire in Barrington.
Yep.
And you can get on the trails from there. So he unloaded me, and I ended up going to the Irving in Barrington. And then from there, I filled up, and I went towards Northwood.
Yep.
Thinking I could get gas at the Shell, which you can't anymore because they closed the trail down.
Sure.
And I wasn't aware that the Isinglass store on Roller Coaster Road took credit cards at night. So what I did is I parked my sled behind near-ish area of Hannaford's on the trail that I knew was the closest walking distance. And I went over to Irving and found 3 washer fluid jugs that were empty in the trash can. and I filled them up and walked back. And
So you walked gas from a gas station over to the snowmobile to get it filled up in the middle of the night so you could roll.
Yeah, and I called my wife when I was doing it because I hadn't updated her in a while, and she was sleeping. She goes, "What are you doing?"
How long had you been on the trail at that point?
That 9:30, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. I've been riding for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yep.
Just in the power lines and in the little trails, just basically giving it a test and tune.
Sure.
And just seeing if it was going to be worth it. Because I fixed the exhaust and everything.
Yep.
And then that failed on my journey.
Yep.
So that was fun to deal with.
But you got it fixed. You got it rolling.
Yep. So I like when I went home, I told her I was going to go for a ride. She packed me up some food.
Yep.
A big Tupperware container full of chili.
Yep.
And I put that in my backpack and everything, and went to Northwood, and I waited until morning. I went to the Northwood Diner to get breakfast.
Sure.
Starving at that point. And then I had to wait for the hardware store to open, which is down the road.
Yep.
And I think it's Northwood Country Market, I believe.
Yep.
And then it's Heritage Hardware.
Yep, I know right what you're talking about.
Right on Route 4.
Route 4, yep.
I was unaware that a gentleman that I've known most of my life runs that store.
Gotcha.
So I go into the store because I'm a huge fan of Red Bull. So I grabbed my daily Red Bull, right?
Sure.
So I went in, and I seen the guy who runs the store. His name's Ed. And he told me, he was like, "Oh, I run the store," because I told him I got to wait till that opens so I can fix my exhaust and do it up a little bit better. It hadn't broken completely at that point, but I wanted to like save what was, because the trails were power lines. If you ever rode on it, I mean, you're up and down and
whoops the whole way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't super smooth.
No. Well, for snow it was okay, but it's just the trail in general.
Sure.
I mean, that's a rider trail. If you're riding, you can do some pretty cool stuff on those power lines.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I just continued on after I filled up and fixed the sled at the hardware store and ate breakfast. And then I went to Bosco Bell, which is on 28, filled up there again, and then continued north and rode all the way up through. And just before, it was probably 5-6 miles in the woods before Tilton HK, which is like Hooks of Kawasaki, but Tilton.
Yeah.
It was in Tilton. So there was a tree down across the trail, which I wasn't even aware of because it landed so nice on the top of this knoll that it looked like it was just more of the knoll. So when I hit the sled, I hit it kind of like the tree, I hit it at an angle where my left ski hit first. Well, when the track hit, it like catapulted the sled up, and I tried to save it because I didn't want to crash the sled. So it ended up flipping, and I wish I would have gotten pictures of it because I didn't take any pictures up until one trail right before. Was that after? It had to have been after because the sheet metal, because I made a sheet metal windshield at my friend's where I had a little piece left, and it worked perfectly, and I duct taped it because I didn't have nothing to hold it together.
Sure.
And that came off when it flipped, and then it broke my exhaust completely. All the repairs I made, completely, everything was junk.
Unreal.
Completely snapped in half again.
Yep.
So
now, at this point, not to cut you off, but had you mentally made the decision you were going to try and ride to Canada?
Yeah.
So now you've got this long ride mission to Pittsburgh, and you've just boned a tree, and now you got to figure out how to get it back rolling.
Yeah, so it was either try to fix and repair, and it was snowing and raining, so that's the next part of this whole thing. I mean, it was an adventure.
No doubt.
So I couldn't see. I think that's probably the main reason why I hit the tree the way I did, because I hadn't wired in my helmet plug yet to the sled.
Sure.
So I ended up stealing power from the brake light plug because I made my own harness, because when I bought the sled, it didn't even have a light on the back.
Sure.
Because it was the seat, the way it is and everything. And so I stole power from that so I could plug my helmet in. Then I made it to Tilton HK. I was completely soaked because it was raining. All my gear was so old that it was waterproof at one time, but not anymore. It's just so old.
Yep.
So I ended up buying a full mono suit, which was a child's size, because I didn't honestly want to spend the money at that point.
Sure.
Because I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to turn around and go home or keep going.
Yeah.
So I bought the suit, bought a new head sock, gloves. I had to buy oil. I asked about if they had a exhaust pipe anywhere, if anybody knew of a used one or anything. Yeah. One of their technicians came out and took a peek at it. He goes, I don't know if we can weld that. I'm like, it's pretty thin. I mean, you could, but it's gonna be a trick.
Sure.
I did it, but yeah. And then I bought all the gear, and then I continued on, and I made it so technically in a day, with the sled being broken and loud, I made it from Northwood to Ashland because I was so wet and cold, and I stayed at the Quality Inn in Ashland.
Yep.
And before I even left Tilton, I had to go get gas again over at Hefner's. But I seen that there was a Lowe's, and my sled was so loud, I actually went inside Lowe's and bought earplugs because it was hurting my ear. Because it echoes right where it was broken.
Sure.
There's a side panel where the pull cord is.
Sure.
And it was broken right behind there, and it would echo off. You could almost feel it on my leg.
So it's coming up under the cowl.
And it was going underneath my helmet, and
Sure.
it was so loud.
Yep.
So I bought earplugs, and that made it way easier to ride that.
No doubt.
I just kept on trucking and went to Ashland, spent the night, reversed that, woke up the next day, pretty late actually because I slept like a baby.
Yep.
And I went from Ashland to Errol, where I went to Big Al's and had some dinner, met some folks there. They helped me out. Justin
Great
and
place.
his dad.
I've been there.
Yep. And had dinner, and then I left there. Well, I called over to the Northern Comfort in Colebrook.
In Colebrook,
He is
sure.
an awesome guy.
Yep.
That guy is awesome. So I didn't get there until 15 minutes till midnight. So it was late.
Ducret Sporting Goods is right there.
Yep.
I stop at Ducret's. I'm on my way to Pittsburgh all the time.
I went over
Great
to
guys,
Lemieux too.
Yep.
Those guys are awesome.
Yep, they sure are.
And so I made it to Northern Comfort and met the gentleman who runs the place at nearly midnight. He gave me my key, and I was so tired and I was in a rush. I ended up losing my brand new pair of gloves that I bought at HK.
Yep.
And my brand new head sock, because I took them off and I set them on the sled while they slid down. And I didn't have those the next morning because I tired and wore out essentially. And so the next following morning, I had to go over to Lemieux. My mono suit that I bought, the zipper broke. It wasn't even that the zipper broke. It was like 4 of the teeth, because they're made of plastic, it just pulled away from the fabric.
Sure.
So I could only zip it all the way up, and this was open, or all the way down, and my chest was open.
Yeah.
So I bought a coat, and I bought new gloves, and I didn't buy a new head sock because I found that when the gentleman standing in the room next to me, actually, when I seen him, like, hey, did you find? Oh, is this yours? And then it was the last day I found my gloves.
Sure.
After I bought brand new $100 gloves.
Yep.
And then another coat because this wouldn't zip. I was freezing.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
So then you headed from there up to Pittsburgh, and
so
you went right to the Canadian border, correct?
Colebrook for one day because the pipe was broken. It was melting the side of my sled.
Yep.
And so I rode around for a little while, not very far. Just in and out of Colebrook, like through the group trails, which they do amazing. That's why I hung around there. They were nice to ride on.
Yeah.
Even with the traffic of the Festival of Lights.
Sure, Festival of Lights is going on that weekend.
It was, and just even with that traffic, those trails were still awesome.
Nice.
Absolutely awesome.
Cool.
And I'm trying to figure out the timeline here. So I was fixing my sled in the parking lot of Lemieux because I still couldn't find a pipe yet. And so I bought a bunch of stuff because I went into Lemieux and they couldn't find me a pipe either. So I'm like, okay, it's okay. I couldn't even find them on Marketplace. They're like gold, apparently.
Sure.
So I went over to the Hicks Lumber, the Hicks Hardware in the center of town.
Yep.
And went over there, and there was 2 ladies in there. They helped me so much trying to find the things I needed, and I bought the gasket stuff that you put around like a wood stove door.
Sure.
To reseal it.
Yep.
I wrapped that around the pipe and hose clamps and everything, and it worked okay for a while, and then it failed again because of the trails. And I mean, I don't ride easy. I don't ride easy at all, especially on that. Like, you're not going to hurt it. It's So I fixed it, and then it broke again, and then I ended up going to the Black Bear Tavern. I called my wife. I was like, I don't know. I got to fix this one way or another, or I don't know, because it was melting the side of my sled really bad. It broke right at the 180 bend right before it goes in the muffler.
No kidding.
And it's so hot. I mean, I was under I didn't realize how hot that actually got. Like, I'm used to diesel trucks because I'm a diesel mechanic and
Sure.
stuff. I wasn't aware that the sleds got that hot. I was actually pretty surprised. I was like, oh man, like I'm not even close to fixing this thing if that's the case.
Sure.
So I ended up meeting a gentleman who owns a company in Colebrook. It's DHI General Contractors, I believe, and his name's Daniel Hebert.
Yep.
That guy is a saint.
Yep.
We were eating dinner at Black Bear Tavern. I was talking to him and his wife, and I'm like, I was telling his wife at the time, I was like, yeah, if I knew anybody around, because I asked him, are you guys from around here? And then I was like, I'm trying to find some place that has a welder. And then Daniel, I got a welder. So after having dinner with them, which they paid for my dinner,
No
which
kidding.
I didn't get, we waited as long as we did because they were making prime rib there.
Yep.
And they literally paid for my dinner, paid for my drinks, the whole nine. And then I followed them down the road on my sled, down Main Street and down by the fire station. And he let me into his shop. He just opened the doors. Doesn't know me from Adam.
Sure.
Okay? Opens his doors. He's like, yep. He goes, if you need anything, call me. I'm right up the road. If you need any more tools that's not here and you can't
That's
find
what
them.
North Country people are about, man.
I'm telling you right now.
Yep. And I've been going to Pittsburgh, as I told you on the phone, for over 25 years.
Yeah.
We've been going up deer hunting, snowmobiling. Everybody especially the Daiwo locals that have been there, will go out of their way to help you out.
So many people offered, but I'm wicked stubborn. Like I want to do it, But
Sure.
I ended up taking him up on his offer, and they opened it up, and I welded it all together. Some patches here, and big old gaps in the pipe now because it's all twisted and stuff.
Sure.
So I mean, I'm a pretty decent welder. I'm not the best, but I can get stuff to hold.
Yeah,
well,
sure,
to say it that
sure.
way. Yeah, and once it was fixed, completely different machine.
Yep.
Way different.
No doubt.
Oh man,
No
you could
doubt.
really ride it after that because
Sure.
no noise, quiet.
No vibration, probably.
You're not looking like a fool. Like I genuinely felt bad going past people on the trail because it was so loud. Like they must have thought I had like a mountain can or something on the sled, like
Sure.
a young kid. Like, oh look at that. No, I don't like that. That's annoying.
Yep.
Plus I hunt. That's a lot to do with like wildlife and stuff.
Sure.
So like
Absolutely.
the deer, like they're not used to that.
Yep.
That doesn't need to happen. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I wanted to get it fixed as soon as possible, and with the help of Daniel and his wife, I wouldn't have been able to finish that trip because I would have either had to leave that there, or risk riding it home and just bandaging it all the way home. And then after that, the next day after it was fixed, that's when I woke up and I rode through Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And my phone died at Young's because I stopped there and I got a steak and cheese sub and a soda.
Sure. Yeah.
And my phone died because I had a Milwaukee little power pack thing with me. I didn't bring a charger and I only brought one battery, but I used that as much as possible up until that point. And then after I left Young's, because I met a gentleman on the trail, I was getting kind of confused because they changed the numbers since the last time I rode.
Yep.
I was used to the old numbers, but now everything's different.
Sure.
So I met up with a dude down the trail, Murphy, and he brought me pretty much right to the intersection of where I had to go. He's like, yep, go there. I'm like, thanks, man, and go to Young's and had lunch. And then after that, I went all the way to the border because I knew the trails after that point, and then went up, and then went back, and I hung out at the Black Bear Tavern again because my room was right down the road. And then that next morning, I woke up, and what did I do after that? Because I didn't go right home. I rode around for a little while that day, and the temperature was negative 14, 16 when I woke up.
Yeah.
So I waited until like 8:30.
Yep.
And then I got on the sled, and it was still really cold, and I rode around for a while, and then I called my wife. I was like, honestly, if I try to tonight, unless I don't make it anywhere I can stay, like, it's going to get cold.
Sure.
So
sure.
she's like, oh, just stay and then do it in the morning. It's supposed to be warmer. So I did. Just a smart decision. I rode it by myself, so there's no need to endanger myself, right? So I went and stayed that one more night, and then next morning I rode from Colebrook to Plymouth, where I ate dinner and stayed at the Common Man. That was my last night out, so I stayed at the Ritz. I was staying at all the places were nice, but I've never been to a place like that ever.
So you rode from the Common Man on your last leg home from there?
Yep.
Gotcha.
All the way from Plymouth. I didn't stop until I got to in my ride, I technically started from the hardware store.
Yep.
In a nutshell, because that was the last place that I could technically get fuel.
Sure.
And I cleared my odometer from like the 200 and something miles I did between messing around and in my buddy's yard, and then between Barrington, Northwood, and all night long, literally all night.
What was your total mileage?
1,168 miles.
No kidding.
Yep.
Round and loop.
Between going all the way, doing what I did, and then all the connector trails, and I checked out, and on the way home, I went all the way down through Bosquen, past the ladies' prison.
Sure.
Because that's where me and my dad would unload back in the day.
Yeah.
And
so now you've got a mission that you want to try and accomplish. You described your ride, and tell us about your mission.
So I started posting on one of the Facebook groups, which is New Hampshire, snowmobiling in New Hampshire. I started posting there. And a gentleman had reached out to me after a couple of pictures. And I do a little bit of Facebooking and stuff. It depends on the season, like hunting seasons I do.
Sure.
I had a great hunting season as well this year.
Yeah.
But he messaged me and he thanked me for putting pictures up because he couldn't ride and stuff, like sick and health and, life.
Yep.
And that's why I continue to do it. Well, it got so popular, and then, this man's a legend and all this stuff. And in my mind, I was just going for a ride.
Sure.
But people appreciate the fact that I was able to document it the way I did.
Yep.
And now everyone that was commenting on it saying, we should do a big ride and all this. And, well, how about we make it good?
Yep.
So at first it was chasing the cure, but there's another gentleman out of the Farmington area that has a ride out of the Hogs Pen he's also sick, but his is Chase the Cure.
Yep.
So
that's a motorcycle ride,
correct.
Right? Yep.
But we didn't want to go where, we want to stay fair and so we looked up this, and my wife actually came up with the name.
Yep.
And so Nuts and Chassis, Cruiz for the Cure.
Cruiz for the Cure. Yep.
So
gotcha. So you got to cross your fingers that every year you get some snow to at least be able to ride the distance you want to do.
Well,
but I've been following you online, and there's quite a few people that want to do this with you next year.
Yeah, and it's been discussed. That was a big thing too. So if we didn't get the snow in the southern portions, and at higher elevation has snow, we'll figure it out. Like if we got to figure out how to trailer and start from certain points.
Sure.
Because we've also talked about congesting the trail system and tearing up too much trails that you get 100 sleds on one area.
Yep.
We have a lot of things to figure out. We're not going at this ignorantly. Like we're gonna figure the small details. We don't want to ruin the trails or disturb owners, like landowners that are luckily,
Well, if everybody's doing legit, and you've got registered snowmobiles on state trails, you're good to go.
Yep.
100%. To me,
absolutely.
it's following your mission. So tell us a little bit about the Facebook page and how people can find out information. And you're also working on sponsors for this too.
I have, and we've gotten a lot. And it's overwhelming, honestly. So when everybody wanted to go for the ride, make it good thing. So it's going to be a cancer benefit ride.
Gotcha.
In a whole. The way I guess I explain it is every form or any type of the sickness will be covered one way or another.
Yep.
And if there's anybody with opinions to that, let us know.
Sure.
Add us on Facebook. Do the whole nine.
Yep.
Nuts and Chassis is a Facebook group. You can also add me directly, Derrick Chase, and no problems. It's on Facebook, right? So it's going to be a benefit ride for cancer, but kind of directed towards male issues like prostate and testicular. My grandfather died of it, and my wife's grandfather died of it. And then after talking to all of these people like I have, I didn't realize how many, even some of the sponsors directly.
Yep.
And as of right now, it's...
My grandfather had it too, so I know.
Yeah.
My mom's dad lost him from it. He was 91, but it's tough.
It's a lot on anybody, but I mean, it's a lot worse than people think.
Sure.
It's becoming more of an issue.
Absolutely.
It's huge, actually.
Yep.
And then another thing, my buddy Hunter, he just went through his first round of chemo. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but we're working out a way for like stickers and hats and shirts, and then we're going to help him try to pay his bills. He's got, I don't even know if his son's a year old yet.
Yep.
But, I mean, he's got a family. He works for himself. He can't work right now.
Sure.
So...
Well, I can tell you as a 37-year firefighter and 24 years of that career,
yeah,
there is a lot of the brothers out there that battle the same thing.
Yep.
So there's always ways that fundraising money can go towards helping those people. You
Yep.
know, and so
No,
I
yep.
applaud your mission.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for telling us your story.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Mother Nature cooperates for you guys next year, and we've got the weather to go with it.
Yeah, we got a lot of moving parts to this, and we got a lot of small details. And,
Sure.
You know, setting up the layout,
Well,
everything.
you've started off. Once you build that following, you get people to know what's going on and where the mission's going, obviously.
Correct.
But obviously, tuning into us, they can hear the whole story of how you came out with it.
Yeah, and I'm happy to
We
tell
thank you
it.
for driving down to the show today and
Yep.
sitting with us. And
Appreciate it.
good luck with your mission, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for listening, folks, and we'll have more to go.
Hey there, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to head over to newenglandoutdoorlife.com to sign up for our mailing list. And while you're at it, check out thirdalarmcharters.com. That's third with the number 3. Have a great week, and we'll see you outdoors.